So you're here to learn about nutrition and bodybuilding? Well, you just sit out, my friend, and I'll give you an earful. You mentioned bodybuilding, and all I can think of, believe it or not, is Joe Weider. Because Joe Weider is the father of bodybuilding. Joe Weider revolutionized bodybuilding. Without Joe Weider, we would never have the bodybuilding as it is today. Because when Joe started, bodybuilding was frowned upon. It was looked upon as only dumb guys. Guys couldn't put two words together, lift weights. They were hardly muscle bound all the time. And Joe came into bodybuilding, revolutionized it, made it competitive, and now it is everybody now. And when I was training, and it started many years ago, because I tell Joe often, because he started me when I was 18 years old working for him, when he was fledgling in his business, and he started me to bodybuilding. He told me to stick with him, and I never regret it, because he has been the foundation of my life. My whole life revolves around bodybuilding. And Joe Weider encouraged me every step of the way. And every time I hear him not getting the kind of accolades that he should get, I feel sad, because they don't realize this man is it. They don't realize without him, it would be no Arnold, nobody. Because Joe brought Arnold over here, Joe publicized Arnold, and Joe brought out the best in Arnold. He didn't make Arnold, but he brought out the best in Arnold. And I remember when Joe says, I'm moving to California, Leroy, and I said, I'm not going. He said, will you stay here in New York? And I'll set you up in New York. And he's always looked out for bodybuilding. He loves bodybuilding, and I love him. He is the closest thing that a man can have, because if Joe's in your corner, you got a friend. And Joe's in the corner bodybuilding. Even to the day, he asked me, are you training? I said, Joe, I'm an old man. He said, never mind that. You're training? And here he is, a lot older than me, and I'm hollering, I'm an old man. And every time I think of it, I say to myself, I better get to those weights, because I think of Joe. And I know Joe will not tolerate me sitting around watching television and eating popcorn. He will not tolerate it. And Joe's in his 80s, and I tell you, when I go to his house, I got to make sure I'm in a little shape, because Joe burned me out. At 88, he burned me out, and I'm 12 years old, younger than he is. He burned me out, and you know what? Let me tell you something. I can sit on and ramble about Joe all day, because that's how close I feel to the man. That's how I appreciate the man. But rambling isn't what I want to say. I just want to say that more people should know the contribution of Joe Weider to bodybuilding. And what bothers me is that most don't. Now, I'm a bodybuilder that Joe started. When I started bodybuilding, I was 11 years old. And from that, my whole life is wrapped around bodybuilding. And the man that pushed me all the way, every time I faltered, and Joe said, keep training, you'll be a champion. And I first man developed a 21-inch arm. Why? Because Joe. I said, Joe, my arm is growing pretty good. He said, keep at it. Always encouraging me. Keep at it. I said, oh, Joe, but look, it's 19. He said, make it 20. I said, Joe, I'm going to get a 20-inch arm. You can do it. And I thought Joe was a little off. I said, what is he? Nobody's got a 20-inch arm. They didn't have a 20-inch arm then. 18 inches was considered the epitome, the experts again. The guys that know goddamn thing what they were talking about was saying, oh, 19 inches beyond the human capacity. A man cannot maintain that muscle size. His internal system cannot feed muscles of that size. And I told Joe, I said, Joe, they measured as 19. Joe said, go to 20. I said, what's the matter with this guy? Nobody gets 20. But he encouraged me. I said, I'm going to try. And it got bigger and bigger. I love him. And you don't usually say you love a man. Right away you say I love a man. God, look at you one eye. But I love him. And I tell you one thing. He's been the biggest influence of any other person in my entire life. Not only my life, but the life of bodybuilding.